But I just want to make sure to cover a few things of what's going on. We're covering atmosphere, the origin, composition, and structure for week 2. So it's a little bit more involved, more information, and your Adobe Digital Edition's access to your investigations manual. We'll guide you to 2A, which is going to be due, and 2B as well. And the surface weather maps are being the first part that you're going to be dealing with. And there's a figure in there, figure 1. Let's get back to 2A, figure 1. And it's got weather plots of low pressure with cold front and warm front and high pressure. And they give you the flow of air around both of those down here in the descriptions of what's going on and on those weather symbols as well. Rain is a dot, drizzle's got a little comma. Rain shower has got that triangle with a dot above it. Thunderstorm has kind of an R with an arrow down, and snow is usually a star, asterisk symbol. Fog is usually 2 or 3 lines horizontal like that. So you'll see those images across the map at certain times, and you're going to be able to answer some of those questions that will show up about that if you go through, the chapters, chapter 2 for this week. And answer those questions. If you do need to refer back to the figure, you can always click on the link again and it'll pop you back there. But just use your answer sheets that I have supplied in the Joule and the Word documents, and then upload those into Joule when you're done with those. Answering all those questions, you're going to look at weather symbols. This is a station plot of weather. Temperature is always in the upper left, dew points in the lower left, and the weather goes at 9 o'clock here on the straight to the left of the circle dot. The circle dot will show you sky cover, filled in as overcast. Half of it will be partly cloudy, a quarter of it will be mostly sunny. And then the wind direction is kind of key. It points toward the circle from the direction it's coming from. So this would be a north-northwest wind. This barb is 10 knots. This barb is 5 knots. So half a barb is 5 knots. A full barb is 10. And you line those up. And if you have a full triangle filled in, that's 50 knots. You'll read about that in the book as well, but you'll answer several questions about weather symbols and station plots. And then they'll show you a map, and you'll answer some questions about this particular station plot. Temperature, dew point, and weather as well. Pressure. Pressure is in the upper right. And it's coded in a certain way. You'll find out about that when you read the chapter. But you either add a 10 in front or a 9 in front, and then add a decimal between the first and second digits from the right. So answer those questions on that particular portion, and go on to the applications section that are right in here in the investigations manual. You use some more figures of weather station plots, and they'll ask various questions about that. If you do want to go to a station plot link, it'll take you directly to, fronts from the Weather Prediction Center, and troughs and squall lines, all sorts of symbols. So those links are really helpful, and I highly recommend to use those, and then go to the various websites that are loaded up. And then station plot is another one that'll eventually load. And that'll show you a sample of exactly what's where, just like you do have it in the book. But it's got more information: fog, drizzle, rain, snow. So use those links as you're doing these investigations manuals. And then figure 5 is an entire weather map with a nice tropical cyclone that had moved ashore in southern Georgia and northern Florida. And they'll ask you various questions about wind flows around that. So you'll get to really be familiar with flow of air pressure, wind around low and high pressure, and squall lines, warm fronts, troughs. So that's 2A. And then 2B is the atmosphere, and you're delved more into what goes on above the ground. And this is a temperature plot with Celsius numbers along the bottom, and then increasing altitude along the left. And then basically defines each layer of the atmosphere, and all the weather occurs down here in the troposphere. tropopause is the top of the weather layer usually, so air usually cools down until you get to the tropopause, and then you have all this ozone in the stratosphere. So you start to warm up a little bit. So you can see it's almost 0 Celsius here at the top of the stratosphere. So it warms up quite a bit in that layer sometimes, not always. But then you cool down again as you get above that ozone area here, and then warm back up in the thermosphere, where you have no atmosphere really left to protect you from the heat of the sun. So things start heating up quite a bit out there. All right, so you use the profile of the atmosphere and all the figures that are available. You'll actually plot temperature on this chart. They'll give you points to plot on there, and here they are: altitude on the left column and temperature on the right. And you just basically plot, look at the pressure and the altitude and plot exactly what you would see in that list, and it'll show you what a standard atmosphere temperature profile will look like, and then you'll answer some questions about that. All right, and then there's the applications section. Some more plots here: pressure, temperature, and altitude. And you'll also answer some questions about that. And then figure 3 is a sounding, which is basically temperature and dew point plotted on a map along with winds directions. You go up through the atmosphere on the left side and increasing temperature or decreasing temperature to the left along the bottom. So you'll learn about that, and that'll be it. So not a lot of work, but certainly different if you haven't seen the atmosphere kind of sliced in from the side cross section like that. So take your time reading the book and make sure you understand what we're asking you. And if you do have any questions, always just email me, text me, call, whatever you need to do. And anytime. I work rotating shifts, so I'm available most of the time, day and evening. Sometimes I work overnight, but just try me, and if I'm available, I'll help you out. Thanks, and good luck this week.